evening. I am honored to be here today. I want to start first by turning the clock back 76 years. And if you kindly close your eyes and maybe imagine all these buildings were not here, turn around and look up on that hill and you see McCall Fall, looking out over Long Island Sound. This was the beginning of Fairfield Prep. The prep I knew 76 years ago. One building, 20 Jesuit priests, and about 30 students. Now, if you did close your eyes, you might as well open them, because I want to tell you about why and how I came to prep. I came to prep as part of the first sophomore class without any parochial school education, and I came from Roger Ludlow High School. At Ludlow, my grades were above average. I played basketball and baseball on the freshman teams. Why I made the decision to transfer to prep, I do not really remember. Here was this new school, one building, a roughed out football field, no gym for basketball, and no baseball diamond. I believe it was some kind of divine intervention that made me stay. My first year I did well in my courses, liked the instructors, although they were very tough. I got to know our basketball coach, Tom Murphy, who also served as a football coach. Our baseball coach was a Jesuit named Father McMullen. We played most of our basketball games on the road and had a fairly good team. The baseball team was picked that first year, but we didn't even have a schedule. So we just played a little practice on that roughed out football field that I mentioned before. However, my second year, football improved, and the basketball, baseball team started winning our share of games. The 1945 and 46 years, my junior and senior years, were 2 good years for both basketball and baseball. We had winning records. I was proud to be elected captain for both teams for both my junior and senior years. I was leading scorer, 20 points per game, and led the team in assists my last senior year. There's one game that I would like to mention. It took place in baseball. The game was in 1945. Our new coach for baseball was a Jesuit to be Mr. Joe Glavin. Our team, it was our team's best victory in the season against Roger Ludlow. Let me set the scene for you. We played at Ludlow's home field, which is where the police station and the firehouse are today on Reef Road. It was the 4th inning. We were up at bat, the bases were loaded, and I came to bat. I hit the ball over Reef Road on the fly. It landed on the street across Reef Road and kept rolling and rolling and rolling, all the way to the end of the street. In my opinion, although not in the record books, this was and may be still the longest home run in prep history. It was a grand slam, home run. The game was a thriller. I had hits, 4 hits that day, and the team had a bunch of hits also. We won 11-9, and that was a great season, start of a great season that year. I graduated in 1945. What I took away from prep was more than academic smarts. Prep prepared me to be a man for others. I learned that God comes first, your neighbor second, and yourself last. Being an athlete at prep taught me the importance of hard work, leadership, teamwork, and I still use all these skills today, believe it or not. What's that? 92 years? After graduation, I attended the University of Notre Dame, and I started in November 1945. I made the basketball B team and enrolled in the engineering school. I gave up hopes of playing varsity basketball because all the veterans were returning from the war, and they just had a slew of scholarship people coming back. But I was determined to make the baseball team as a walk-on. I did make the team and played as shortstop for 2 years in 1948 and 49. Now I would like to tell you another story. And because this story was similar to the one at Prep, it was the greatest game at Notre Dame, my greatest game at Notre Dame. Ironically, it was very similar to the best game at Prep. In 1948, we were playing a doubleheader at home against Purdue University. At that time, we didn't have a closed field there. We played our games on a large field where the football team was having their spring practice, and there was also a track meet being held on at the same time on this particular day. In the first game, a local star from South Bend, Indiana, was the pitcher, Bob Hartman. He was the starting pitcher, and the local papers played that game quite well. Well, I came up the bat with the bases loaded and hit a long fly over the left fielder's head, and the ball kept rolling. It was a grand slam against a home team hero. Again, I was convinced to be the longest home run ever hit there. That wasn't in the record books. I went on to have 2 more hits that game and a couple in the second game. I was the hero on that canvas that particular game. This guy, this alum from little Fairfield Prep in Connecticut. I graduated and received my BS in mechanical engineering in January 1950. I was drafted into the Army in November 1950. I was stationed 2 years at Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland. While there, I was an instructor in ordnance school and played basketball and fast-pitch softball for the 2 years I was there. We won post-championships in both sports. I was discharged in November 1952 and joined the family business, Wiretex Manufacturing Company, where I worked for 45 years and retired in 1997. At the same time, I played locally and I joined the Rebestis softball team. I played shortstop for 4 years and was manager for 4 years. We were world champs in 1955 and 1958. I was assistant basketball coach at Fairfield U at that time. It was this time I met my wife, Lillian, and we got married in 1962. We have 3 children, son Edward, daughter Linda, and son Richard. Ed and Rick are both Prep alums as well, graduating in 1981 and 83. My daughter Linda is a Laurelton Hall alum. My wife Lillian, unfortunately, passed away a little over a year this month. In the 1970s, most of the alumni were tied to Prep because of the love for Father Tom Murphy and Father Larry O'Neill. For me, it all started with a lunch in December 1976. Myself, 4 other alums from the classes of 1945 and 46 went to lunch with Father Tom. At that lunch, we decided to continue this lunch date every year, and a few more alums joined us each year. In 1981, because we wanted to honor Father Tom, we named our expanded group the Father Tom Latin Scholars.
1
Fairfield U Alumni House. We knew it wasn't going to stay there because that was an ideal spot. It had to be moved to the entrance of Xavier Hall right over here, going into the entrance. The Latin Scholars still exist today, and I'm proud to currently serve as the president. My involvement with Prep continued and grew when our sons were students here. In 1977, I was chairman of the annual auction. At this time, Father James Bowler became president. I think they called him president at that time. And he formed the Board of Regents with Art Hedge as chairman, and I was co-chairman. We formed a visionary group at $1,000 a head, began to expand fundraising activities for the school. The board hired Bob Sylvester, took him away from teaching and basketball, and made him VP of Development. I thought this was an important turning point in Prep history for raising big money for the important endowment. As I mentioned, Prep taught me the importance of giving back to your community by being a man for others. I have done that in several ways. I was appointed a member of the building committee for the H. Smith Richardson Golf Course in Fairfield, served on the Golf Commission for 5 years, and I was also appointed to the building committee for the new Fairfield Police Station. I was president of the board of directors of the Wakeman Boys and Girls Club in Sullivan. As for honors and awards, I think you probably picked them up on the video. I had, for my talents and service, I was inducted in the Connecticut Fast Pitch Hall of Fame in the early 60s, and the Prep Wall of Fame. I don't know if you remember what the Wall of Fame was. That, I was elected to that in 1980. I received the Greater Bridgeport Athletic Award in 1990. And the Fairfield University, one of the Fairfield University's Jubilee Medals in 1992. Most recently, I was inducted into the Hall of Fame at Wakeman Boys and Girls Club in 2013. In closing, after 76 years associated with Fairfield Prep, it's important and an honor to mention I had 3 heroes: Father Tom Murphy, Father Larry O'Neill, and Father James Bowler. But now, I must add one more hero, and that's Father Saminsky. Where are you, Father? Right over here. That is for his continued leadership of Prep, his contributions to the local community, his spiritual guidance, and his support for the Latin scholars. Thank you, Father, again. It's been such an honor for me tonight. Thank you to the selection committee. Thank you to Rick Henderson and Kathy Noel for from the development office for a great event. Congratulations to all the other Athletic Hall of Fame inductees, past and present. I am thankful to God and very proud to be associated with Prep. I love Prep. Go Prep. Keep on winning, Prep. And thank you.